I had a lot of help.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. I welcome everyone who's come here tonight. Always a pleasure to see a lot of people in here to listen to how the government works. I think it's just really important to pay attention to your government because you are the government. And we're just representing you here. So great to see people here. Let's start with a moment of silence. Okay. Mr. Holiday, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the agenda, approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion, we approve the minutes from the October 15th, 2024. Yes, ma'am.
Approval of the agenda, please.
I'm sorry?
Approval of the agenda, please.
I skipped right over it. Approval of tonight's agenda. Thank you for keeping me straight, Ms. Myers.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Now the minutes. Approval of the minutes for the October 15th, 2024 council meeting. Do I have a motion that we approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, next we're in the public comment session. Is there anyone who wishes to address council? Anyone who wishes to take advantage of the public comment session and address us? Going once, going twice? No, okay. The next will be a mayoral proclamation. World Pancreatic Cancer Day. Proclaiming November 21st as World Pancreatic Cancer Day. Whereas in 2024, an estimated 66,400 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 51,750 will die from the disease. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, is currently the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and is projected to become the second leading cause around 2030. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate at just 13%. And whereas symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, when they do, it is generally in later stages, and 91% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. And whereas approximately 920 deaths will occur in South Carolina in 2024. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the 7th most common cause of cancer-related death across the world. And whereas there were an estimated 510,992 new pancreatic cancer cases diagnosed worldwide in 2022. And whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Walhalla are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about the symptoms and risks of pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. Therefore, I, Tim Hall, Mayor of the City of Walhalla, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim the day November 21st as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in the City of Walhalla. Okay, we will move to resolutions.
Need a motion for that, or
On proclamation, no.
just a comment. My dear mother, who I love dearly, got pancreatic. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible disease. Horrible disease. All for it, all for it.
There's a motion, that council can adopt the
So
proclamation.
moved, so moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor of adopting this proclamation for the council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain. Not because it's not a good thing. You know, my mother-in-law died of pancreatic cancer. I just feel that when we have a proclamation over so many things, when it comes down to something that truly affects the city, no one's gonna take it seriously because we so water down the proclamations. So that's why I'm abstaining.
Okay. Next, so that the record show that it was 5-1, or 5 in favor of this proclamation and 1 abstention. First and final reading of resolutions. Resolution 2024-11. A resolution to appoint Laramie Hinkle. And Mr. Hinkle, I see you here somewhere, to the Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority Board. For those that have not had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Hinkle, he is the new director of our public utilities department. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
We just really appreciate the work you've done and look forward to all the great things you're gonna do in the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
So I'm going to read the proclamation. The mayor and city council of the city of Walhalla duly assembled on the 19th day of November 2024, a quorum being present, appoints Laramie Hinkle to, this is seat 6, Mrs. Myers? Seat 6, as a commissioner to the Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority pursuant to section 6-2-60A, chapter 25 of Title 6. The South Carolina law was amended by Act 59, South Carolina Acts and Joint Resolutions effective June 7th, 2007. And Mr. Hinkle will need to take an oath at this time.
No, sir, that will be at the OJRSA meeting in January,
Okay,
with their attorney, Mr. Brown.
okay. So this is as far as we go with this, so is there a motion that we accept this appointment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? All right,
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thanks, sir.
thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Next
Next resolution, a resolution to recognize Mr. Austin Chastain as firefighter of the year. Mr. Chastain. And I will tell you in advance, thank you for your dedication.
Yes, sir, thank you. Thank you for having
Really
me.
appreciate it. Whereas it is fitting that the members of this city council pause to pay tribute to those exemplary firefighters who bravely serve their communities. And whereas Fighter Austin Chastain is one such remarkable person who was recently named Firefighter of the Year. And whereas Austin joined the Walhalla Fire Department in 2023 and is assigned to A shift. And whereas Austin is a dedicated and reliable firefighter for Walhalla citizens, visitors, business owners, and his fellow firefighters, who is always willing to lend a helping hand. And whereas this prestigious honor was given to firefighter Austin Chastain for his hard work, dedication, and willingness to do whatever is needed for the betterment of the department. And now, therefore, Walhalla City Council resolves to commend and congratulate firefighter Austin Chastain on being named Firefighter of the Year. Be it further resolved, Walhalla City Council wishes firefighter Austin Chastain a long and successful career.
I'd like to make a motion to accept this resolution on behalf of Mr. Chastain.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
officers in just a
Oh,
second.
okay. You mean up here, you mean back here?
Do you want
Yeah,
to
we're
do
gonna do one more and then we'll come up.
We're gonna do one more, then we'll come out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, resolution 2024-13. A resolution to recognize Sergeant Hunter McCall as Officer of the Year. Mr. McCall. And thank you also for your dedication.
Thank you.
You are much appreciated.
We appreciate y'all.
Whereas it is fitting that the members of the city council pause to pay tribute to those exemplary police officers who bravely serve their communities. And whereas Sergeant Hunter McCall is one such remarkable person who was recently named Officer of the Year. And whereas Sergeant McCall joined the Walhalla Police Department in 2021, having previously served in the Oconee County Sheriff's Office. And whereas Sergeant McCall has courageously served his community with enthusiasm while leading the Bravo and Delta patrol shifts. Whereas Sergeant McCall is a dedicated and reliable police officer for Walhalla citizens, visitors, business owners, and his fellow officers, who is always willing to step up for any task or assignment regardless of the timing or effort involved. And whereas Sergeant McCall understands the value of providing professional services to the citizens he serves and maintains a proactive, community-oriented approach, looking out for his community's best interests. And whereas this prestigious honor was given to Sergeant McCall for his hard work, dedication, and willingness to do whatever is needed for the betterment of his department. And now, therefore, Walhalla City Council resolves to commend and congratulate Sergeant Hunter McCall on being named Officer of the Year. Be it resolved, Walhalla City Council wishes Sergeant McCall a long and successful career. Is there
I
a
move
motion?
we approve the resolution.
Is there a motion? Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I've known Hunter as he was known in my neighborhood in West Union, and since he was a little kid, he's grown into an absolutely fantastic man and officer. I'm so proud of him.
That's great. That's great.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, let the record show this passed 6-0. And I think we should go down and get photos.
I certainly did. Hey, Fred, how are you? Good. Yeah, thanks, man. Great, guys. Thanks, brother. Whatever.
I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, that'll work.
You gotta put up here and see.
Thank you for all your
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, anytime.
Yeah, right here.
Did you want to be in them?
Yeah, you're up.
There's the mayor.
You guys, I don't know.
Yeah, you sit right here. I'll get around a
This is where I
second.
stand. I want them to hold it up. These are the stars of the show right here. Let's make sure. All right, Mr. Chastain, Mr. McCall.
One, two, three. One, two, three. All right, y'all wanna go join them?
Sure.
Terry, you wanna be over here? Terry, you wanna be over here by us?
Yeah.
You mean kneel down in front?
Yeah.
I'd like to also point out the leadership that these departments have, and it's what makes all this work.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, that's absolutely.
You're doing good. You stay ready, we'll work around you, buddy.
Okay.
One, two, three. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Governor, how are you?
trying to see if you were the one that pulled me over the other day.
It was not, it was not. It was not. You wanna take the vote back? Until Asa pulls you.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Good, this is a good, big guys.
Yes, they are. Mr. Pace, you're right about that. It goes down, where is Mr. Pace?
He just slipped out.
Mr. Pace, you're right about that. It starts at the top. It starts at the top. Okay, now we're gonna move to administrative report. Speaking of the top,
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are monthly reports in your packet for your review. A few highlights, this was mentioned at the last one, but since last month, Mr. Larry Hinkle and Ms. Olivia Bessie have started with the city. Y'all have, Mr. Hinkle, if anyone has not, Ms. Olivia Bessie is also here, and we welcome her as well. Also, this is not from last month, but just to celebrate, we are currently 100% filled in our utilities department, and that includes our new Greenland crew, so we are very excited about that. We had 2 new businesses open in the city limits last month. A couple more are planned to open within the November or early December, so we're excited to see new small businesses coming in. The Cane Creek Sewer Line Project, the pre-con meeting was held, and you should see work, or actually you may not see work because it's a sewer line, but that will start December 2nd, and not 4, and is expected to be completed by August of next year. We received 7 RFQs from, for the community center design build. Our internal staff will be vetting those, and then we will have those recommendations for the PRT committee. Can't promise by the next committee meeting, but we will get through that, because some of these have some depth in them, so we wanna make sure we do our due diligence on that and present that to you. We had numerous events in the last month, Oktoberfest, Walhalla, Blue in the Bay Merchants Market, a 15 and under soccer tournament. We'll have our Christmas tree lighting and Christmas parade coming up before the next meeting. We are continuing with the water line maintenance, the flushing program for our distribution lines. If anyone has not taken that water line survey, we are still accepting survey applications for that. This is again an EPA requirement that we inventory as much as possible what these line materials are. If we do not get one, then we'll have to go out and do it ourselves. So we really would love citizens to participate, and if they don't know, to let us know that they don't know, so we know we need to put on checks. But we're doing that. I sent an email to y'all, but just to remind everyone, the suspension pedestrian bridge at Sertoma is closed due to structural concerns. We are looking at different options. We talked about it today. It looks as if we may do a less or somewhat inexpensive quick fix until we can determine how to completely replace it and then find funding for that. The lights at the pickleball court have been repaired. They're now on the timer, so if anyone would still like to play pickleball, as the times have changed and it's getting a little bit darker, you can certainly go out there and do that. We congratulate our police department on a grant that they received this last month. Administrative offices, if you look for some of us, we are now over at 105 West South Broad Street at the yellow 2-story building. And some more water staff has come here to use the facilities here and to have all the space that they need. And then our staff has already started in capital improvement and maintenance requests for next year's budget. While we're putting up our garland and ribbons, we're already talking about budgets for next year.
Joy.
You'll get that very soon. There's a lot more here, but those are just the highlights. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
all right, we're on the tape. Mr. Thomas, any questions for Ms. Miners?
Thank you.
Mr. Johns? Mr. Holliday? Mr. King?
Thank you.
Mr. Pace? I've got a couple of questions, a couple of comments. We are the only Now, is it correct that we're the only location in the county where that offers evening pickleball now with lights up? Is that accurate?
I'm not certain if we're the only ones or not. I'll have to double check and see if some of the county parks, if those are lit or not, but we do have it at least until 10 o'clock.
Okay, and the concession stand, what is the date that we expect to have that completed?
Before baseball season starts next year.
And then on the community center, tell us all what the next steps are and what we're shooting for as a completion date for this center.
The staff's next steps is to research the 7 design build RFQs that we received last Friday. We have an internal team that has a grading evaluation sheet, and we're gonna look at each one. Once we come up with the top, I'm gonna say 3, whether we decide that we need to bring them in for interviews or whether we feel like we have enough information based on their proposals, we'll come to that determination, and then we will submit those recommendations to the PRT committee so that there can be some input from them as well. And then once that is done, they will recommend to full council whoever it is that we will award this project to, and then we will start on the design phase. Most of them have given an indication of give or take around 18 months. There is some variation, but a lot of it's gonna depend on how quick we award the contract. So the more time we spend in trying to determine who this is, the longer it's gonna take build, obviously. And then how long it takes us to come up with a design. Because we wanna make sure that we include community input, staff input, council's input, etc.
So we're looking at summer 2026.
I think that would be fair.
Okay. Completion. All right, gives us something to look forward to. And on the water, we had $10 million in grants that we were expending. We've already got some committed to the sewer lines. How much is left to be committed to projects out of that 10 million for water and sewer projects?
I believe we have about 5 million left.
About 5 million left?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll get you an exact number for that, but I believe we're around 5 million left for that.
So-
The sewer line was the biggest project.
Okay, so including the Highway 11 projects, we've done a little north of $7 million so far in projects on water and sewer.
That one was with the county and ARPA funds, yes.
But I mean, in total, the city's put down
Right.
north of $7 million in water and sewer.
Once this one gets started, yes,
Okay, and we still have 5 million left to go.
approximately.
Okay, thank you.
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor, appreciate all the effort, the grants, the effort you all, and I appreciate Mr. Whitmire and Mr. Alexander and the
Absolutely.
legislature awarding all this stuff to us to help
Oh,
make
100%.
Walhalla better, move
100%.
Walhalla forward.
Excellent point, and we're very appreciative of our legislative delegation because we would not have these grants were it not for them and our county council for awarding $2 million to us earlier, so. How's the song go? I get by with a little help from my friends.
It's on.
All right. Anyone else have any more commentary? All right, let's move on to the second final reading and public review of ordinances. This is ordinance, the first one is gonna be ordinance, 2024, the only one's gonna be ordinance 2024-15, an ordinance to amend ordinance, 2021-16, Walhalla's mobile food vendor ordinance. Ms. Myers, you wanna give us a quick overview of the changes to that? I believe it's just about timing.
Correct. Back at our committee meeting on September 3rd, the Planning and Community Development Committee both discussed and recommended that we take out the time limitation for those restaurants that are food vendors at the food truck lot. And so this ordinance removes subsection D, which states that no mobile food vendor shall operate outside of the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. This will now allow anyone serving food with the proper permit, of course, whether they are brick and mortar or whether they are a food truck, to be able to offer food at any time
a normal brick and mortar restaurant does not have an operating hours that they have to
They
show.
do not,
Yes, this is puts them.
only when it comes to serving alcohol, but not with food.
Okay,
So now they would be under the exact same food establishment laws as any brick and mortar restaurant.
thank you. Okay, we're gonna have a public hearing on that ordinance since it's second and final review. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this ordinance? Anyone who would like to comment on this? Okay, we will close the opportunity for public review, and do I hear a motion there?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's take a look. All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. No first reading of ordinances on the agenda, so we're gonna go to discussion and action items. The first one is the Walhalla Economic Advisory Committee. We discussed this earlier at a committee meeting. Basically, this involves asking for the input of citizens about, the citizens that have a stake in Walhalla's economic growth, where they have businesses or another stake like that, in economic growth in Walhalla, to come and meet quarterly with a representative of the city and ad hoc members. Hopefully we can get, and we have some ideas for ad hoc members that are written into the proposal. Should there be a merchants association formed between Walhalla and West Union, which I understand is on its way, representative there would provide that input. A representative hopefully of the Oconee Chamber, and we would be able to, the idea is to be able to hear the voices of our citizens, because that's one of the basic rules that we have, is we want to hear our citizens, and in this case, small businesses, and allow them to tell us what they think is best for them, how we can do a better job in promoting small business, and what we need to change, and along those lines. So that's the idea. The idea is to find a better mechanism to hear the voices of citizens, but in this case, small businesses. And I gave that overview. Is there-
I'd like to make a comment before we
Sure.
make a motion on regular meetings under Article 4, Section 1.
Yes, sir.
It still states once a month,
You
and
know,
we did talk about that committee to be quarterly.
we did, that was not changed though, but,
Yes, my apologies. I
That's
thought I-
okay. We
I
just
thought
so
I
we
did
make
say
note
that I
of
did
that.
not. I
That
do
should
have
be
it marked
clear.
on mine already, that it will be, at least once per quarter.
and it would have 7 members, at least 2 seats reserved for minority business community members. Okay,
With that being said, I'd make a motion to accept this.
there's a motion and a second. Now we're open for discussion. Start with Mr. Thomas.
This will, I guess this will become more apparent, depending on how everything flows and what kind of parameters that we set, in terms of, how we want the meetings to work and stuff like that. The only concern is, really just a comment, there's not really a fix to it right now, because we haven't had the meetings or anything, but, I would hope that this would focus on economic development and growth, and not be, just an opportunity every time we meet to talk about the problems that we have, but also, opportunities that we have. And so, I know previously owning a couple different businesses, in town, whenever we would have any kind of merchant meetups like this, it turned to be more of a gripe session than anything else. And so I would wanna make sure we kinda head that off from the front.
Yeah, one of those we can make sure, improve the, yeah, this is gonna take leadership.
Yep.
Because it says how do we improve the business environment, these
Yep.
opportunities, enhance the overall quality of life for residents and visitors. Mr. Johns,
Okay.
Mr. Holliday,
I don't have any comment, just like I said,
said before, I think it's good for relationship with business and city together. Get sounding more for our businesses. It's more information for us too.
Yeah. Mr. King?
I'm of the same opinion I was when we discussed this at the government committee meeting. I hold the views of Ronald Reagan, that government is not the solution, government is the problem. And we're just making more government to get in the way, to make it harder on businesses. So I won't be voting for this.
Mr. Pace?
Yeah, like I said before, I think it's a good step forward. And to echo Councilman Thomas's concerns, I think that is a key factor in the selection of this committee, to where their focus is going forward and not backwards, and
Yeah.
bringing up problems in the past.
That's a valid point.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I will add that this, again, this is giving citizens the opportunity to give input to government, to us, so we can hear their voices. Every opportunity we have, because this government is other people, and we have to listen to the people. And this is an opportunity to listen to the people, in this case, the small businesses. This provides us with another avenue to listen to what the citizens say, to listen to what the people are telling us, in this case, small business owners. And by listening, we can be better leaders, we can be better council members by understanding what it is the citizens need, what it is the citizens want. And I think it removes a layer of government between ourselves and the people. It doesn't have one. It removes that layer. It lets them come to us. Let us understand what's going on.
Mayor, if I could, I would add, that it does give an opportunity for businesses to be represented for owners who do not live in the city limits. For those who cannot vote for council, city council members and things like that, this actually does give them a voice to speak up, and to be heard in a little bit more transparent way.
Businesses that contribute to our economic prosperity, provide jobs for our citizens.
That's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm with you. Any more discussion? All those in favor of this, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed? Show it passed 5-1. Okay, next item will be discussion of the Bailey bill. The municipal, what is this, municipal industrial park? Municipal.
Multi-county industrial park.
Okay, and existing economic incentives. This came about as a discussion of ways to promote businesses in particular. We were thinking about the hotel alum, that issue had come up, and other issues as well, where we can, what do we have in terms, this brought up a lot larger discussion, but what kind of incentives do we have for businesses in Walhalla, and what's the right way to go? So the idea is, do we adopt the Bailey bill? Do we do the industrial park way, or do we just rely on our existing economic incentives? And I will turn this over to Mrs. Myers to present, she's been studying this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, at council's direction, we began drafting a Bailey bill ordinance, and as I was talking with our attorney, Mr. Kusler, that in our discussions, he asked what council's goals were, and as we were discussing that, he brought up that the Bailey bill may not be meeting council's goals of what they were wanting. The take that we got, or that I got from you, and if I misunderstood, please forgive me and correct me, is that you would like to have some control, some way of tailoring on a case-by-case basis of whoever comes up, to where you know what the business is going to be, what milestones you want to put in place, that type of thing. The Bailey bill is, think of it almost like an autopilot. As soon as you set those broad parameters and you sign off on it, then you never see it again. It is completely done by staff from that point on. As long as any business comes in and meets the minimum criteria, we have no option but to approve it, and it is staff administered. So it does not have to come before city council for approval after that initial establishment of ordinance. It does not have to have county council approval unless they want their county portion of the tax bill to also receive, some relief. It only pertains to the city portion. Mr. Paulseric is the one who mentioned, either the special source revenue credit or the multi-county industrial park, whichever one you'd like to call it. This particular one, we would have to work with county council. It would be on a case-by-case basis. It is very specific. You hammer all those details out with the applicant, and we would also be working with the county at the same exact time. And then once we got it to the point where we are bringing it to you for an ordinance, we would also be bringing it to county council for an ordinance as well. It does primarily impact industrial or higher density commercial. It can be used for retail and housing rental, and it has been done so in Oconee. Also, just letting you know what existing economic development we already have. This has nothing to do, we don't have to go to Oconee County Council. It is specifically with the city. Those are listed on page 2 and 3 in your, actually 2, 3, and 4 in your backup. There was an ordinance adopted in 2017 that already gives city council the authority to enter into an agreement not to exceed 5 years with a person or a firm who is going to do a development project in the city limits or on a piece of property that they will be annexing into the city limits. Item 7 lists the different incentives that it could include, such as tap fees, business license, hospitality accommodations, solid waste fees, infrastructure costs, etc. It does also include the state incentive programs, which would potentially put some tax credits in place for abandoned buildings or the fire sprinkler system if they need to install one. So we do have some incentives already in place that businesses or potential developers can come and ask for. This one is also done on a case-by-case basis. Staff would have a recommendation that we would bring to y'all, but really it is hammered out and is done by ordinance, so y'all would have complete control of that one as well. Those are the couple options that you've got. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail unless you want me to go into a whole lot of detail.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just a couple of comments. The Bailey bill has and the industrial park have a more pronounced impact on providing incentives because they involve the county as well. We'd have to get county buy-in on both of those, correct?
The county would have to adopt the Bailey bill as well. And it's the same for them as it would be for you. It's kind of an autopilot. Once they adopt the program, then it is established and their staff would be handling it from then on. And then the industrial park, or the special source revenue, those would be on a case-by-case basis, just like they do their fee and lieu taxes or any other type of tax incentive. They would do the same thing, and they had already done it with the city of Seneca, so we would not be the first ones to ask if that is a method you would like for us to pursue.
So if I had a business and I wanted to do that, I would go to county council, ask them for that sort of consideration, and then come here and ask us, or vice versa.
You would come to us, and then we would all work together, the developer, the county, the city, all. There would be a lot of ironing out details behind the scenes before it was brought to council for adoption. There would be a lot of meetings.
And under our current, what was currently on the books, we would be able to offer those, but they would not be getting that from the county. Or they could go to the county and ask for something similar, correct?
Well, they could go to the county and ask for it, but what we basically offer under ours, the county doesn't charge. So the solid waste fees is only for us, the hospitality is
I'm thinking
only
more
for
of
us.
the tax,
If they were to ask for the tax relief, then they would have to go to each. Otherwise, it would only apply to the city portion. In most cases, the city portion is the higher, so that is where the bulk of the relief is.
But you did say it has been done for Seneca people.
For the multi-county industrial, yes, sir.
all right, so open for discussion, Mr. Johnson.
No comment.
Mr. Holliday?
I don't have it right now, we gotta digest this.
I think that's what, Mr. King.
What's the question? We're asked to pick one of these three?
No, in fact, we have one already that is existing.
Okay.
We're exploring the other options, which one is most advantageous to the city for, promoting
To add
businesses.
in addition to what we have, or to
It
do
would
it
replace it.
and
It
replace
would
it?
replace it, yeah.
Well, I'm not a fan of what we have, and I'm not a fan of any more government control and intrusion in the property rights and picking winners and losers, so I'm not in there.
Mr. Pace?
Yes, thank you. I'm very satisfied with what we have to offer. In my opinion, it's the best for the customer. It still gives us the, and I take this lightly, Mr. King, control over, say, the Bailey bill, someone applies for it, we pass the grant, get it granted, then they can flip the project to someone else. And that, it's out of our hands.
It's more like assistance versus control.
Right, but, so in my opinion, even with the MCIP that Seneca uses, what we have on the books is still in the best interest of people that come to Walhalla to open a business and to ask for our assistance. We can grant everything that's in there directly. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Ms. Myers, thank you for taking the time to research all of this. I know I want to digest it some more too, but in keeping it and taking into account Mr. Pace's observations, which, this is something that we look at so that we can, and cities compete, we know that. And we want to make sure that Walhalla has the best for its citizens, that we're able to make sure that Walhalla's economic growth provides for its citizens. And this is certainly good information, and it's certainly something like Mr. Holliday I will need to digest also. And anyone else have anything else to add, or any motions to make at this time?
I would just like to make a comment that, we don't push this under the rug, because I know there's some folks that's kind of waiting on us to make a decision on a couple of these items. Whether we take a stand and just stay where we're at, or if we adopt something different, I don't think we should put it off too long.
Well, that's a fair point.
Just to make sure I understand fully, so we have, notes here, the existing economic incentives. We have these things in place currently right now, and what we potentially could be making a motion on is replacing, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
That's where I'm losing it, like, with one of these, or all of these?
One of them,
One
one or the other.
One or the other. The options right now are just, I suppose Mr. Page makes an excellent point, that we do have those who are waiting on us to kind of solidify where we're headed with this. And so the motion, if we made one tonight, and I'm not saying we have to, but certainly we could be in that position to vote to maintain the current economic incentives without picking up anything new, or to vote to ask staff to research further the next steps for implementing either the Bailey bill or the industrial park.
If I may, the current standings that we have been there since 17, I think.
Yeah.
And we've had a request for the Bailey bill. That's
Yeah,
what brought
I
this
remember
up.
Yeah.
And then Ms. Myers investigating with our attorneys, that's where the other line came up from. Because there is Seneca uses that, MCIP
Okay,
leg of it, and so he shared that with her, which now we're being
yeah.
shared.
But I mean, anybody could, I assume anybody that's gonna do any development, they could bring a special proposal to you or the council, and we could talk about that individually, couldn't we?
That's what we prefer, actually.
Yeah.
That way, they know what they need, it's their business, they know it best.
Yeah, for sure.
They know what will help them, and then they can bring it to us, as opposed to us telling them this is the only thing that we offer.
Okay.
If this is gonna assist business to come to Walhalla and encourage business to come to Walhalla, I'm all for it. All for it.
Yeah, I think the issue that we're really talking about though is, our one meeting, I thought we talked about the Bailey bill break that. But that's still a lot of work, and, I mean, just as my personal opinion, I don't think we need that.
Well, if we do nothing, then we just keep going the way we're going.
Yeah,
We don't have to make any motions,
uh,
if we,
yeah,
by not making a motion, then we just continue on with the, economic incentives that we have.
yeah.
Unless there's a motion, those are excellent points, and Ms. Myers, we did not ask your staff recommendation either, we should.
Can you speak on behalf of your staff? Just kidding.
I don't know that I can speak on behalf of staff. Based on what I have looked at, we have not currently used the ones that we have, at least in the 2 years that I've been here, even though we let people know that they are available. We have not had anyone come and ask us for them. As you said, we do have one person requesting another form. I don't know that we want to continue adding different programs and incentives because of one or two individual requests. I think we need to do something that is city-based, not project-based. And I would not recommend that we adopt it.
That is, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
That's fine.
That is wise counsel, so I'm glad that I
And I
didn't put
agree
you on
with
the
her.
spot. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. So by not making a motion, I mean, we just keep rolling like we are.
We're going that way.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Mr. Johns? Mr. Holliday? Mr. King? Mr. Pace?
I'd just like to make on notice or record that we're not interested in adopting the Bailey bill.
Well, we're not making, are there any motions that anyone wants to make at this time?
Motion to not make a motion.
By not making the motion says the same thing, Mr. Pace.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, if nothing more, then we'll move on. Ms. Myers, thank you. Thank you for taking time to look into that for us
Yes,
too.
sir.
Let's move on to the mutual aid agreement with Westminster. Ms. Myers?
Yes, sir. We have mutual aid agreements with the surrounding municipalities, with our police services. When there is a change in police chief, those agreements are updated. So we have standing agreements currently, but as both Westminster and West Union have a new police chief in those positions, we are asking that we just review our mutual aid agreement with the new representation of each of those municipalities.
Is there anything different between this and the previous one?
Just the
Except for
chief's
the name
name.
change?
The chief's name, and now you and I are signing as opposed to Brandon and Mr. Edwards.
Okay.
Those are the only changes.
I'll make a motion, we move forward with mutual aid on Westminster.
Second? Who seconded?
Second.
Mr. Jones. Okay, any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I'd be curious, is this, do you have any desire to change anything in it, chief?
I do not. Those are very common throughout the state. I think if you pulled one from Charleston, you're gonna see the exact same language in there, pretty standard in there. That gives us the jurisdiction to be able to operate in Westminster or West Union if they call for that help, and it allows us to ask for their help to come here. It doesn't deal with anything about, and it specifically is not about cost or employees or any of the things in there. So it's just standard to give us the jurisdiction to be able to do our jobs in their jurisdiction, or them to do the job here if we need that help. So I think they're good.
Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Next item on the agenda, mutual aid agreement with West Union.
Exactly.
Exact same thing, okay?
Make a motion.
Motion, second?
Second.
Motion and a second, Mr. Thomas. Okay, any discussion on this one? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. That takes care of our mutual aid agreements. It is, wow, we got through this in 50 minutes so far, I just changed this. Okay, now, do I hear a motion, we go into executive session?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, we go into executive session. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? All right, well, I asked everyone to please leave